Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to discuss the unheard stories of what it's like to be a college football player and what that looks like over the course of one season. Today we have two different unique perspectives that will be showcased and explained, including myself. I am a sophomore from Boonesboro, Maryland. I play running back at Bridgewater College. I am currently in my first year of playing. I've gotten a good bit of game time this year, and the teammate we're joined by is sophomore Ian Lane. Ian is a defensive lineman on Bridgewater College football team. He is originally from Williamsport, Maryland, where he attended Williamsport High School and had a 4-year varsity football experience. Ian's football experience goes far beyond high school when he started playing football in 3rd grade, and has grown a deep love for the sport ever since, and eventually plans to be a coach of some nature, whether that be high school or college. It's kind of unknown. So is there anything else you want to say?
For the experience part, mine's very different because I didn't get to experience a freshman year like you did. I got Lyme's disease and I was out medically for the entire year, and I just started playing again in the spring and have been healthy since.
Yeah, so Ian's kind of had a late start to his college career, not the ideal what you want to have or what he thought he was going to have. So first off, preseason. This is your first preseason, really, where you kind of got to know that you were going to play. And so what did that conditioning look like in the summer, early fall?
Oh, so I lift 6 days a week at max. Most times it's 5. I really don't like going too much because of the shoulder pain that I get sometimes. And that's all weightlifting. And then I kind of just do the conditioning part of running and sprinting and field work max at 3 times a week. I never really did more than 3.
So you didn't really because we have or at least in the past with our old conditioning coach, we had a kind of regime that he gave us, or a chart with all the workouts. And I know personally I didn't really follow that because the gym that I go to, it's kind of like I don't have some of the stuff like you have here. So
I didn't fully follow it. So I love some of the lists that we had on there, like the snatches and the hang cleans. I did those 3 times a week maybe, but I never did the exact setup of him because he had it on there for 3 times a week, and I lift, like I just said, 4 to 5. So 5 to 6. So I kind of like to lift more than that. So I kind of just take what he has on there, and I made it my personal little thing. I evenized it.
Yeah, and you just did your own conditioning. Yeah. And do you feel like that helped? Like, do you feel
better? It's because I get the aspect, I get his knowledge, but then I get my knowledge. Not saying I don't trust his full knowledge, but I don't know, kind of just a feeling.
The comfort of
knowing that I have my stuff, but I'm also doing what the coach wants me to do. It took the stress out of pleasing him.
Yeah. So, I guess preparing physically, it's pretty obvious what football players have to do in the summer leading into the fall camp. What did you do mentally preparing? Because personally, going into fall camp after freshman year, finding out what fall camp was really about, it was really tough. I kind of had to definitely mentally prepare myself this time around because I knew that I needed to come in with a stronger mindset. And this was kind of your first full camp.
Yeah.
So
I was actually I don't want to have to say I had to mentally prepare myself, but it was kind of just, I know a lot of people hate camp because it does suck, but I love camp. It's nothing but football. I've done nothing but football my entire life, so to be able to do nothing but football it sucked it was only a week this year, but prior to our freshman year it was the full 2 weeks, but it was definitely it was a terrible, hard 1 week, but it was definitely a fun week of doing nothing but football. Yeah. So for the mentally preparing, it was kind of just deal with it. I didn't really have to go through any steps to mentally prepare. I kind of just woke up the day of, moved in, and I was like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I feel like any part of being a college student, it's hardest to leave your family. I wasn't really worried about my performance when I got here playing. It was knowing that I'd be homesick and stuff like that. But, so, after camp ends, we move in to game week prep, first game. I think first game of the year, what was that this year?
No,
Susquehanna. So going into week 1, we were playing a ranked top 12 team in the nation, Susquehanna, which we played the first game last year. So we kind of both have different perspectives on game preparation this year. I would say my typical game week routine preparing is Monday. Well, I'll go over the basic practice.
We have the same practice schedule.
Monday is just helmet practice. You wear your just jersey, no shoulder pads, no other pads except just your helmet. Tuesday is full pads. Wednesday is shells, which is what is the term that we use to say helmets and shoulder pads, but no pants. And then for Thursday is just helmets. Again. Friday is a walkthrough
for dress squad only.
So if you're going to travel to the game or if you're going to play in the game, it's a walkthrough. And then so my game week routine, it's like the same every single week. We start off with Monday morning, 6:30 a.m. meeting. Those are probably part of the roughest parts of the week.
Especially after a loss when you just know Coach Lamb's going to have some sort of motivational speech, or he's just going to dig into the whole team. You never really know.
Yeah.
And at 6:30, you're dazed and confused because you just woke up 10 minutes ago and rushed over to Cole Hall to get in the meeting. You never know what Coach Lamb's going to tell you.
Yeah. So 6:30 meetings are a little rough, especially in the start of the year because he's like way more on you about being there on time and what the meeting's going to look like, because I know personally at the start of the year his meetings were way more harsh.
And they definitely were.
It was way more criticizing rather than kind of praises and like what we
definitely
did.
Because I mean with camp it's all constructive criticism, because you don't want to. That's kind of just a personal thing. I don't think you should praise as much in camp, because then you get a bunch of guys, especially with the freshmen coming in. They get high egos thinking, oh, this coach, he's already praising me.
Yeah.
Not saying don't praise at all, but if you praise too much in the early going of the season, then their ego would get too high, especially before the first game. You don't want to ever go into a first game high egoed, because then you would get punched in the face.
Yeah, true. So typical day after 6:30 meeting on Monday. We have our classes all day long. Then we do position meetings around 3 o'clock.
And then in those, I don't know if you guys we start off, defense starts off in a unit, and we do scouting reports. We'll talk about the offenses, their personality, their identity, what the personnel they love, what formations they love, and their pass to rush ratio, and just go over the entire team.
Yeah, we do that too. It's not as in-depth, I think, as what the defense does. But we still talk about what their defense looks like, who's the key players of the week are, what kind of fronts they bring, stuff like that. But we do Monday meetings are probably the longest meetings because we have special teams meeting, position meetings, and our, like we just said, our scouting report. Moving after that, we go straight into practice. Practice can be anywhere from an hour and 20 minutes to 2 hours. It kind of depends on the day. If we're in helmets, it's going to be a little shorter. Full pads going to be a little longer.
More competition in the full pads.
More competition in the full pads. Practice intensity is definitely way higher. Full pad days, it's the days where we
do nothing but
compete and hit and give our all, really, because helmet days are those are mentally focused days. You have to really lock in because they're going to be way more on you about doing the correct thing rather than how much effort you give.
Mm-hmm.
They still want high effort, but it takes a lot to prepare for a game. It's a lot harder than it was in high school. It's like, first of all, it's a lot more to learn in college, so there's a lot to focus in on.
I will say, definitely is easier than I thought it was. Now, I do play a way easier position than you with learning things. I kind of have 95% of the plays. I do the same exact thing. So, it's definitely easier, but I definitely think it is harder, but way easier than I thought it was going to be to learn plays.
It's way easier this year than it was last year, because for me last year, it was terrible.
Yeah, because you transition offense completely from a wing tee offense to a I don't even know what you call our offense.
It's not what I did before.
Yeah, that's complete opposite.
So then we get into the game day. After we had our walkthrough, We had a good Friday night, relax your body, do whatever typical routine. I know, personally, I just like, me and my roommate, we turn on a movie. My roommate was on the football team, but he's not anymore, but he's still he's really good about understanding how Friday nights are for me and whatever is going to happen before the game. I just typically turn on a movie, watch it, call my family, just try and really I don't try and worry about the actual game. I don't think about the game too much. I try and veer my head away from the game, think about stuff that just is relaxing. Yeah.
I want to say I'm complete opposite, but like I've only dressed twice, so like I haven't, and I only dressed because I got Scout Team Player of the Week, so I didn't really.
Explain Scout Team Player of the Week.
So, Scout Team Player of the Week is, we call it the Golden Eagle. It's the coaches will get together at the end of the week and just decide which Scout Team players gave the offense the best look. And I got that week 1 when we played Susquehanna, and I got that Hanford-Sydney week, which was 2 weeks ago now. And you get the opportunity to just dress for the home game. You don't really even get in. I got in against Southern Virginia because we beat them 80-0.
Recorded a few tackles too.
I did. I got my first 2 career tackles and my first snap too, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even though I got a bad grade on it because I went too far upfield, but I did make a tackle, so I'll take it.
All right. So pre-game, I think day of is a whole lot different than what I was talking about Friday night. Pre-game, it gets pretty nervous. It's exciting because if it's a home game, like we have a really good tradition. We put on nice outfits. We have our devotional in Cole Hall.
The one thing I will say about the nice outfits is that's what I know. It kind of goes against what I just said about going too high confident into a game. I don't know about you, but just put it on a nice outfit because I don't dress up ever. Like I wear athletic shorts every day, so putting on a nice outfit is kind of just like a confidence booster.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Like, you go into the game feeling like, I just put on this nice outfit, feeling great, felt like I look great, and I'm gonna play great.
Heard a good message. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely nice to have routine, and Coach Lamb I think is really good about having routine. He's a very routine oriented person.
Big on routine. That's why I'm surprised. I know we have the itinerary throughout the whole camp. I'm surprised we don't have a weekly itinerary that we get on Monday mornings at the meetings.
That's true. So, like we said, a lot of people are nervous for a game. At least I'm typically nervous. I wasn't actually too nervous in a couple games this year. It kind of depends on the opponent you're playing. Like Susquehanna, I was pretty nervous. Randolph-Macon, I was pretty nervous. It's also my first time ever just playing against these teams before, so I didn't really know what to expect. Crowd's energy and atmosphere, I would say, is what really kind of gets you in the zone, though.
Definitely. I know, obviously, like, I'm only talking about the 2 games I dressed, but even when I was in high school, the feeling of, like, running out to the crowd, running out when you walk out before the game starts, the band's going crazy, and the fans are going crazy, that definitely just locks you in right there. You're locked in just because, the energy is just amazing. You're like, all those people are there just to watch this game just for you.
Yeah. And I feel like almost like you kind of hear all that stuff at the start. You hear all the energy, but then once you start playing, it all kind of goes away and you don't really think about it at all.
Definitely.
Until the moment is a high moment or you need a first down and it's fourth and 1. You can hear it in those moments, but at the same time, those are the moments where you really zone in. And
the energy and the atmosphere that I feel the most in those big moments are the opposing team's crowd.
Yeah.
I'd much rather hear them screaming. Because it's just like, it's going to sound like weird. Just like the feeling of giving them disappointment after I go against what they're cheering for is like, it's a feeling that I crave. Like, because I know home games are fun and they're fun to have your own fans cheering for you and everything. But there's nothing like an away game at like a toxic atmosphere where they're just constantly because like we went to rival high schools, like so every time I played at your school, especially because my girlfriend's from your school, every time I went to those games, I just knew that everyone in that crowd was so angry that you guys were losing because it'd be every time. So it was definitely just a good feeling going against the energy of those fans.
Yeah, there's something that fires you up about the other team's fans and even the other team just being loud, it just fuels your fire even more. And I guess that kind of leads to like being on the field during critical moments. That's the best part. That's why you play the game.
It's the best part. A lot of people like whimper in those moments, but that is, even if like obviously you don't want to lose moments, but even being on the field for a moment where you're going to win or lose, but it's a critical moment is such a, because then like you feel trusted by your team and your coaches that you're like, they put me out here in this big fourth down stop. And it's just,
especially when you convert, and after you convert, that's really why you do it, because that's the best feeling in the world, and there really is nothing like it, and you just feel from your teammates all the love and support, and being on the field during critical moments is 100% the best part about playing football. Whether that is, like you said, you're about to stop them on fourth down, or you're the play, or you pick up the fourth down, or you are lining up, and there's a good chance that you might score the touchdown on this play. And handling that kind of pressure, it kind of comes with the experience that you have playing the sport. It's not something that everyone can do, and if you could, then everyone would be college athletes.
Yeah.
And so handling that pressure is something that you kind of learn over time. And
you
to be fair,
it to the side.
Yeah,
and I always just feel you should just push it to the side, because then if you're sitting there thinking about the pressure, because like I've always thought about it like this, like say it's playoff game, or like when we beat Shenandoah by that blocked field goal. If you're in that on the field that night, don't even think about it being 2 seconds left to stop the field goal. Think of it just practice. If you think of it being as something so small, then you'll just think of it being as a routine. Think it's a routine that you're just going to end up doing good in that moment because you're just so used to it.
So playing games, obviously, we play football. It's very physical, and it is not a sport that is very nice to your body. There's a lot of injury that happens, and it's unfortunate. But with injury, there's recovery, and I would say if you go through an entire season without getting injured, somehow, whether that be a minor injury or a severe injury, you got lucky. And I mean, just this year, I have messed up all my fingers. I have sprained my ankle, and you get through it, and it's part of it. That recovery part is very important, and we have a really good trainer. We have multiple trainers.
They're all really good.
They are very understanding, and if they think that you can play through the injury, then they're going to let you play, and they're going to leave it up to you. Obviously, Ian's had a very different injury.
I will say I have never actually experienced an actual football injury. My junior year of high school, I got cellulitis in my left calf. And then obviously last year I got the Lyme's disease, which led to the arthritis that I have now. So other than that, I've never really had an actual football injury, but I know how you said over the course of the season you rack up little things, and the little things I've kind of popped up is my arthritis has slowly throughout the progression of the season. It's just kind of just like day to day. It's this day sucks, and it just progressively gets worse to where like there are times out there where my knees just give out in the middle of a play. But at the beginning of the season, that never happened. Like the last JV game that we played in, the Shenandoah game, like if I would have played maybe 2 or 3 more plays, I don't know how well I would have got off the ball in those ones. That entire game, I wish like the cameras would have been recorded more, but you could just see there were so many plays where afterwards I'm getting up and then my knee just gives out, I collapse. Walking the sideline, my knee just gives out, I collapse. So really, other than that, I haven't really racked up injuries. I mean, obviously you get like those bumps and bruises, and especially me and Scout team are going against our starting O-line every day, and obviously we have a pretty good offensive line. Those guys are pretty well sized, so it's just banged up every day. Yeah,
and it does impact your play, but at the end of the day, you kind of have a job to do, and
you just gotta do it.
Coach is understanding to an extent, but Coach Lim is pretty hard on you if you have an injury. He expects you to take full advantage of your therapy sessions, your recovery sessions.
Yeah, there you go.
Like he expects you to be there and be there every single day so that you can be back on the field.
How many times have you gone?
I'm pretty bad at it.
I've
been one time this year.
The most I count as therapy for me is I go get ice for my knees because there's really nothing else you can do. That I mean, there's icy hot, but that like satisfies the pain for a solid 10 seconds as I'm applying it. Yeah. I know the one thing I count as a therapy session. I've realized during our practice, if I like squirt cold water on my knees, it satisfies that pain for a couple of seconds.
Huh. That's interesting. I've never really heard that one before.
Yeah, because the ice. Because I know some people do heat pads or icing for the arthritis for not medication, but trying to help it. And obviously, I don't have an ice pack here because I don't have a freezer. So just squirting some frozen water on there helps. Not frozen water, cold water on there helps a little bit.
Yeah. So minor injuries, they expect you to push through them, and major injuries, obviously, that's a whole different story.
Technically, I personally feel like with a major injury, then it's that just on Billy. But if it's like a minor injury, then I feel like it's Billy and Coach Lamb and your position coach.
Yeah. And so, I mean, what are some of the big injuries that have happened this year? I know Porter broke his leg, and we've had some concussions, but like that's like the main one. We haven't had anything too terrible.
Well, I feel like sad is going to say with how often they are. I don't even know if you can. They're a major injury, but like how often they're happening now, it's not. As I worry that terribly, but they happen often enough where it's a minor injury and you know how to take care of it, but it is a major injury.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I feel like moving into our next topic, what's even harder than dealing through injury and recovery is the expectation that coaches, fans, the news, the local media. I mean, we obviously play at a Division III school, so our media isn't as harsh as playing at a Division I school, but
they're actually harsher. I got more media coverage, not obviously just me, but my school in Washington County, more than we got here. Like there were so many more news outlets. There's Twitter reporters that are posting highlights of every game. They go on the sideline, they record the games, and post highlights throughout the entire game.
You're talking about high school? Yeah, for sure. I mean, being at Bridgewater, the media isn't a factor like you would think it may be in high school, because the media was there every single day, and
I got interviewed countless amount of times.
Yeah, and D1, that's obviously a whole different thing in itself. But coaches, that is probably, in my opinion, one of the toughest things that you have to battle through, or not battle through, but deal with, because coaches, they're the people that watch you every day. They're the ones that decide if you're on the field.
I will say, I personally think the most tough person to deal with your expectations is yourself, because I know my expectations of myself were completely different from what Coach Allen, our defensive coordinator, had. I had expectations to dress every game and be a huge contributor, but honestly, realistically, I knew that it wasn't my time, because technically it's actually my freshman year, because I didn't have one last year, and I understood that wasn't going to happen, but just the expectations, because I'm high on myself, like I'm always going to tell myself to shoot for that, but it's definitely harder to shoot your own expectations down than shooting the coach's expectations down. Yeah, because then you're just messing with your own brain.
Yeah, and playing for, I'm sure every head coach has high expectations, but Coach Lem, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing that he holds us accountable and that he does expect high from us, because if he didn't, then I don't think we'd be a good program. And
not at all.
Like, we're a good program, and we always put up a good fight in our conference and have won our conference in 2019 or 2020, one of them. And that's all been under him, and this team has really turned it around. Honestly, we're about to be on the brink of our third straight winning season, which has never happened in Bridgewater before. So Coach Lem has high expectations, and it's hard to deal with, and you don't want to let him down. You don't want to let any coach down.
You never want to let a coach down.
But at the same time, it's that pressure every single day of coming back to your meeting, like we talked about, and they're criticizing you, or they're not criticizing you, but they're giving you coaching points.
Yeah.
Like, they're giving you coaching points, and most of the time those coaching points, they aren't a huge deal, but sometimes you mess up and they're going to let you know about it.
I will say, I've never gotten messed up in the point to get yelled at in a coaching style, but I've never seen Coach Allen yell at someone because of a coaching point. Yeah. Like, I know It's just all the coaching, because like Coach G, he never yelled at you for a coaching point in the film room, but it was more of an aggressive criticism.
Yeah.
But Coach Allen's all kind of just like slowly walk you through it, if that makes sense. Like, he's going to tell you what you did wrong, but like he's just like, he understands mistakes. I'm not saying Coach G didn't understand mistakes happen, but you can just feel
he understands that it's you can't be perfect.
Yeah. Like, I know both of them did that, but you just get a more calmer vibe from Coach Allen.
Yeah. And then I guess fans aren't really a huge deal, because the only fans that we have
your
is
parents.
Yeah, it's family.
It's all your parents.
And your family is always going to be supportive, but you also want all the other family to believe in you and to acknowledge that you're a good player. And sometimes you'll hear people say little things, but you can't really let it get to you, because I mean,
you just got to deal with it.
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard to deal with expectations, but that's part of the sport, and that's just what we do. So whole nother topic kind of leads us into steering away from playing a little bit. Academics, the whole other side. It's definitely a big issue on college teams everywhere. For us personally, I think we do a pretty good job of balancing academics.
I really don't get how people can struggle with the balancing of the academics. I get if you have a lot of classes, but I really think it's easier than people pointing out to me.
Yeah, and I think it's like you have to try and kind of try to do bad.
I really think it all happens because in the start of the season, I had it to where I would get out of class. I wouldn't do homework until after practice. But to me, that just like, I'd rather have break time after practice. So as soon as I get out of class, I do all my homework and then practice and then break time. And I think the main reason people get so backed up is because they don't want to do their work right away. They want to wait till after practice.
Yeah, you're you're talking to a guy who does all of his work at
yes, I know. I don't know
the last minute.
That is also the biggest reason, is because I know a lot of people don't do it right away. Like for my political science class right now, I just finished I have 2 case briefs due every Tuesday and Thursday, and I just finished the ones that are due on Thursday today. Yeah. I finished the ones that were due today last Thursday. So I'm like, I get them done early, way ahead of time.
And that's a good habit to have, because I know that I do everything last minute. But, you know, every person kind of has their way of doing things, and I kind of feel like the less time I have, the more pressure I have to do it, which means I have to do it. And that's just kind of quicker. I get it. I don't know if I get it done quicker necessarily.
Get it done as fast, not fast.
I just get it done.
Yeah, you get it done.
Yeah. And I think I'm smart enough to get it done at a decently high level. And sometimes when I do start early and I am responsible, I do it well. But that's my point, is like, you can do things last minute and you can still get it done. Mm-hmm. Like, it might be some late nights where you're staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning, but
I hate sleep. I hate staying up that late. That's why I try to avoid it. That's why I try to get it done as early as possible.
Yeah. But there are players on the team that just can't do it. And it's led to...
That is generally one of the most annoying things when it comes, even in high school. Like, I don't get why people can't just go to class. Yeah. In college, it's more annoying because, like, you're paying to do this. Yeah. Or not even just you. Like, I know for me, my parents are paying for all of this. Yeah. So it's just, like, you're not even, like... I feel like it's worse if your parents are paying for it, but at the same time, if you're paying for it, it's like, you're wasting your own money. Like, and I also feel like a lot of people don't realize, like, this is your future. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many jobs out there that you need a degree for. Like, I know for me, I'm going to be a cop along with coaching, like you said. But I don't need a degree for that. But with the criminology major,
you'll be able to get a higher
the pay
position.
Increase I can get, the promotion increase I can get just from having a criminology major. It helps you out so much just by going to class. So many classes. Like, for example, my criminology class I'm taking right now, all I have to do is show up and we talk about our readings. We have no assignments. Yeah. It's easy. I don't want to say it's easy because I do have a 65 in the class. But okay. It's just show up. That's literally the easiest thing with college, is you just need to show up.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And there's also so many different outlets that our football team, there's outlets that the school gives you, and that's obviously
like
tutors
the writing center. I know within the football team, Coach Lim just told us about a bunch of guys that are taking Bio 100, like our seniors that all passed it with flying colors, are literally they're offering, but Coach Lim forced it, a study hall just for that class. Like, you have the outlet, so you can't blame not having the resources to pass your classes or getting your classes.
And Coach Lim is really good at that. He prioritizes academics so much, and if you are not doing good academically, you will be in the office and you will be doing your schoolwork beside him.
Because I'm in a study hall right now because of that 65. But I mean, that's going to go away real quick. But I know they're
serious.
They have academic check-ins if your grades are bad enough. They have those study halls if your grade's bad enough.
You have to be in the office every morning by 9 a.m.
and
through the week and check your name off.
Monday through Friday.
And it's just because they want you to get up and moving early, get you off to a good start of your day. And I honestly think that a lot of people think it's dumb. I know last year as a freshman, every freshman has to do it.
Yeah. No,
I thought it was dumb.
Every freshman has to do it for the first semester. We both didn't have to do it for the second semester because we got our GPAs high enough.
Yeah.
Like, I get why it has to be 9 a.m., but I feel like your motivation of hating after waking up at 9 a.m. should be enough just to get your GPA well enough. Because who wants to wake up at 8:30 to go check in when you don't have class until 10?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just like, have your motivation to work harder should be your motivation to make yourself be able to be lazy because you work so hard.
Yeah, it's perfectly said, to be honest. So I guess, I don't know, some strategies that I do.
I just explained all my strategies.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of just explained our strategies. I would say my biggest strategy that I could give is just listen in class. And I know that it's hard sometimes with, like, because I'm the biggest hypocrite. I have a hard time staying focused, but, like, whenever I do listen, and
it really helps.
Like, just putting down my computer and not doing anything on my computer, like, that is the biggest thing.
My biggest thing is I zone out. Like, in my criminology class, we're talking about, like, topics that are affecting, like, today's society. So, like, one thing will get talked about, and I don't like talking in the class, so I never raise my hand. So I do a lot of thinking in my head. So they'll say something, and I'm just sitting there thinking the entire class, and I'm just thinking about this, and I keep talking to myself about the topic. So I'm talking about the topic in my head. But the next thing I know, I look at the board, and Dr. Albers has been rambling, because he doesn't take the type of notes where you can look at it and understand the whole topic. He takes the type of notes where it's like mapping and graphing out what he's like. Writes this word, points it here, writes that there. So, like, as you don't pay attention to the entire class and you look up at the end of the class and be like, what did we just talk about? You have no clue.
So just trying to listen is, like, honestly the biggest thing that you can do when you go to class. And then if you listen in class, you're going to know what you need to do after class.
You know, the other strategy I do when I do all my homework is I put on instrumentals.
Instrumental music,
I did work. Because then I just imagine myself in, like, an edit of me doing my homework fast. And I get the homework done pretty quick.
And just going to places, like, we have so many good places that we can go and study and do homework at the FLC. And I don't know, I found a couple places that I feel like I've got on lock for myself that are pretty secret. Whether that be my room or whether...
I loved going to the FLC, but...
There's still so many people.
Oh my god, I get distracted so easily.
Yeah.
Like, the one time, last year when we went and Gio was doing the Scooby-Doo noise, oh my gosh, I couldn't do it. I had to go in my room because I get distracted too easily. Like, if I'm a yapper, so, like, I'll see one of my friends, and next thing I know, I've been talking for 20 minutes. When it takes 20 minutes to do the whole case brief that I'm trying to do, and I just wasted my entire time talking about it. Who knows what.
So, that's academics. And taking a back step, I guess, a little bit, travel. And I know that that's kind of something that I'm going to have to talk about a little bit more because, as he said, he was Scout Player of the Week. He dressed for 2 home games. But travel normally in D3 is not that bad. This year's been a little bit different, but it's typically not something that... It's pretty much the same as high school. I mean, the bus rides are a little bit longer. You get a charter bus instead of a school bus.
Yeah, I know the only time I have... technically I traveled twice because the one JV game and one scrimmage... That first scrimmage alone to Stevenson was my longest bus ride ever.
That was
because, I mean, it's not the longest car ride I've been to, but bus ride. Because before that, it was a 2.5 hour ride to Patuxent from Williamsport. But that was 3.5 hours to Stevenson. And it was, oh my gosh, it was terrible because the bus broke down. An hour into the bus ride. And of course, it was my bus.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting there. I mean, the only good thing that happened from us, we had to stop for food.
Yeah.
That was clutch.
Division 3 charter buses get a little sketchy, I'm not going to lie. We've had like 3 of them. We had one engine, one transmission.
Mine was the transmission, and I could tell the moment we left,
that something was wrong.
Me and Oscar look at each other. He shifts, and you just feel it throughout the entire. Like, you can hear. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's gotta be the worst 3.5 hour ride. The only good thing that happened at the switch was the food, and I got to switch seats. I didn't really want to sit with who I was sitting with. I've never had the conversation with my life. I forget who it was, but I ended up switching to someone that I've talked to every day, so I got lucky. Yeah,
and my longest trip this year, Mississippi. We played Millsaps College, and that was interesting because it was a last-minute game plan schedule that we got over the summer. It was not on our original schedule, and that was a 13-hour bus ride.
Well, that was 14.
14, yeah. Either way, it was a long bus ride, and the charter buses aren't all that fancy, like we said, and they're really not that comfortable. And on the way there, it wasn't that bad. We split it up pretty well. We stopped and ate food. We stopped in Chattanooga. At Chattanooga College to practice on that Friday to do our Friday walkthrough, and then we finished the rest of that drive. We stopped somewhere in Tennessee, stayed at a hotel, and then in the morning of game day, we went all the way through Alabama, arrived sometime in the morning, and then we.
What time did the game start? Usually we start at like 2, so...
2 o'clock? I'm pretty sure that we finished the drive in the morning.
Well, didn't you guys do the entire 14-hour drive back from Millsaps?
Yeah, we did.
That's the worst part.
I'm confusing myself because we left on Thursday. We didn't leave on Friday. So we left on Thursday for our Chattanooga practice, which is not our walkthrough. It was like a typical Thursday practice, and it was just helmets. And then Friday, we were in Mississippi at that point. We arrived in Mississippi in the morning, spent the entire day kind of to ourselves. And we didn't spend it to ourselves, but we had a lot of time. Like, he had our itinerary. Like, he's very good at planning things out. He had an itinerary. But, yeah, either way, it was a long trip. It's not something that normally happens at this level.
Because if you get a opponent that far away and like the high ones, you get the nice beautiful private jets and all that beautiful plane rides, but Bridgewater doesn't have money for the plane ride.
But I would say it was honestly really fun on the bus ride talking to people for that long. You kind of are forced to talk to people because you get kind of tired of being on your phone and watching movies, and we all ended up playing Among Us on our phones.
I didn't get to be on that bus ride for that, but I remember for 2 weeks in a row Dawson was addicted and kept trying to play with me in class.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have watched movies. I would have popped like 3 melatonin into my sleeping.
Oh, there was a lot of sleeping that happened.
I would.
That's for sure. But so travel, it's really not that bad at Division 3. This year was a little bit different, but I mean, typically our bus rides are only like, I would say max 3 hours. If it's longer than 3 hours, then we're staying the night. And normally it's about 2 hours.
You are staying the night.
This upcoming week we play Guilford College in North Carolina, and we are leaving Friday night to go stay the night. So yeah.
How far is the drive to Guilford? Do you know?
I think it's like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. So yeah. But I would say, kind of wrapping up a little bit, motivation, getting through the grind phase of the season. You kind of it kind of gets into routine. Like, that's kind of the theme of playing an entire season of football. You get into a routine and everything kind of just goes by quickly, and before we knew it, we're in week 10 sitting here talking about our season right now, and there's a possibility that this is our last game. We could have a chance at a bowl game, but not really sure.
There's a whole I think it was like week 15 of the NFL where this team can get in if 3 teams win and 4 teams lose.
Yeah,
it's that type of situation.
We're in that kind of situation.
Not that I don't care, but like me being a scout team guy, I'm not going to play in the bowl game, so it's just like I'm just waiting to find out. I'm not really going to stress myself knowing I'm not going to play in it.
Yeah. And getting through those difficult moments throughout the season, you talk to your teammates, you become really close with your teammates, you call your home, there's ways to get through it, and some people don't make it through it, and and that's all right too, because there's reasons why people they fall off the train, but the people that stick it out, you find out that it's worth it, and being a part of the team is worth it. So yeah, but goals for the future, football. In the future, we're at the end of the season.
I'm playing for the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you heard that. He's going to go to the NFL, and I'm just focused on finishing my college football career, making the most of it.
Yeah, I definitely just want to be able to contribute for the next 2 years. I do have that 5th year available. I really don't know if I'm going to use it, but if I do use it, I definitely would love to use it as an outlet to get into coaching. Because I know I did say I want to be a cop and coach, but if I just got to coach and make that my entire career, it'd be perfect.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, short term, play football for the last remainder of our college career. Do it at a high level.
Cry really hard on senior day and then move on.
Try and win an ODAC championship, too. That's definitely the goal.
That would be really awesome.
I'm not really worried about winning a national championship, but ODAC championship, that's the goal.
Well, it's kind of, it's a goal, but you gotta win the ODACs first.
Yeah, you gotta win the ODACs, and
you gotta beat Randolph-Macon.
I feel like just playing first real season, it shaped me into a way better person. I've realized that there's a lot that I still need to work on and grow as a person, and to be a leader, I think that I'm finally kind of falling into that position where I can be a leader, and I think for Ian as well, Ian's like if you ask anyone on the team, he's one of like the best teammates that you can have. He'll be there for you whenever, and kind of hyping him up a little bit, but it's true. And I think that playing college football has shaped us both into way better people. We have great coaches who are worried about, they say the term finishers a lot, like they just want us to finish college. And obviously football is a opportunity that we had, and it's something fun that we get to do, and they at the end, like, they care about it. It's their job, that's why they get paid, but they really care about getting us our diploma, walking across the stage.
I feel like they care because it's their job, but I also feel like they care not just because of that, but for the fact that they care for us as individuals.
Yeah, they definitely, you can tell, like, you create relationships with coaches, and those relationships that you have are some of the most important ones that you have. And
yeah, like Coach Allen, me and him's relationship, we got really close quickly because just like me and you, he's from Western Maryland.
Yeah.
So we definitely have a lot to talk about because we grew up in the exact same area, and we just connected on that and ran with it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Our future, I think that we both have very successful futures in the program, and hopefully the team is very successful. I think we're going to be. Is there anything else that you have to say?
I have nothing.
Nothing else to say. Well, thank you for listening. Hopefully that kind of gave you some insight into what it's like to be a football player, whether that you're a football player yourself or you are just curious because you're a fan and maybe you want to get to know what it's like to actually be a player a little bit more, because there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot of physical, mental battles that you go through that a lot of people may not realize. So, yeah, Ian, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time.